Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today I'm going to have to push back on comments made by the moron in chief, Donald Trump, at a Turning Point USA Teen Summit. He proclaimed that Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States gives him the freedom to do whatever he wants as president. It does not. It outlines some guidelines for the presidency, but it does not give him power to do whatever he wants. I had not planned to jump to Article 2 like this because we still had to go over Article 1. But since this pompous moron wants to go on a path of spewing stupidity, the orange imbecile, we're going to have to counter his claim and fact check his ass. So let's do that, shall we? I have with me my American Constitutional Law book, and I've opened to Section 2, or Article 2 of the Constitution. The one he proclaims gives him all this power. It's a bit of a read, but how about we sit down and read it? It's about a page and a half. So, may not be a page and a half, maybe about a page and a quarter. But let's read it anyway. Let's go over this. Article 1 Article 2 is broke down into sections, and they're further broken down into parts. So Article 2, Section 1, Part 1, the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the Vice President chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. 2. Each state shall appoint, in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct, a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress, but no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. So we've talked about the length of term of the president, and that the Senate and representatives shall appoint electors, I'm assuming in the Electoral College, so that they are the ones who can choose the president. Although members of the Senate and the House or any other office of trust shall not be electors. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. So you cannot just vote people from your state in. You have to vote at least one person to be from another state. And they shall make a list of all the persons voted for, and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be president, if the number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if there be more than one who have such majority, and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. And if no person have a majority, then from the 5 highest on the list, the said House shall in like manner choose the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having one vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member of the or members from the 2/3 of the states, and the majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. In every case, after the choice of the president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. If there should remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from the ballot the vice president. So far we've talked about how long they serve each term and how they're chosen. And this has taken us through Article 2, Section 1, Parts 1 and 2. Part 3 of Article 2, Section 1. The Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. No person except a natural born... Okay, Part 4 of Article 2, Section 1. No person except a natural born citizen or a citizen of the U.S. at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of the President. Neither shall any person be eligible to the office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States. So that's stating who can be president. Part 5 of Article 2, Section 1. In case of the removal of the president from office, or his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall devolve on the vice president, and the Congress may by law provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability, both of the president and the vice president, declaring that officer shall then act as president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a president shall be elected. So, indications on what happens for the removal in case of removal of a president. Part 6 of Article 2, Section 1. The President shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation, which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall have been elected. So it can be changed before or after. And he shall not receive within that period or any other receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any state. Well, that says or any of them, but it's saying from any state. So the president cannot receive bonus gifts beyond his required pay, his required compensation. Part 7 of Article 2, Section 1. Before he enter on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Article 2, Section 2. Part 1. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states when called into the actual service of the United States. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. So, that shows what power he has over the military and some of his powers as the chief executive of the United States. My hip's killing me there. Article 2, Section 2, Part 2. He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, to make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present concur. And he shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. But the Congress may by law vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the President alone, the courts of law, and the heads of departments. So, the President can appoint these people, but they have to be approved and checked on by Congress. And Article 2, Section 2, Part 3, the President shall have power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. So, like, if there is a vacancy in a Senate seat, the President can assign a commission to choose that person. Article 2, Section 3. He shall from time to time give the Congress information on the state of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. So he can suggest things. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses, or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them, with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them in such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all of the officers of the United States. So he will meet with people from other nations, since he is supposed to be the U.S. representative publicly. And he may call on both houses of Congress to, again, because he may want to suggest something. He can suggest a law. He can't enact it himself. And finally, Article 2, Section 4. And this is the last part. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. And that is Article 2 of the Constitution, which he seems to think grants him the ability to do whatever he wants. It doesn't. It just outlines the presidency. It doesn't give you the ability to do whatever you want in the executive branch. That's not what it's granting. Nowhere. You can't even read it as that. If you look at it, if you read it, line for line, there's nothing in there that says he can do whatever he wants. Nothing. So I don't know where the dumbass thinks it provides him with the freedom to do whatever he wishes. But this idiot can't be allowed to just run roughshod over, the people and the Congress and the courts. We need to get this moron out of office in 2020. Don't vote Biden. He can't win. He's had a history of groping. He has a huge history of gaffes. Kamala Harris is not it either, because you look at her history as a DA, and it is filled with faux pas. Warren, I'm not happy about, but I'll accept it if she gets elected. But personally, Bernie is the only true choice. We cannot have another 4 years of this buffoon in office. But yeah, I'll go over Article 2 another time in actual descriptions. But I had to read it this time to basically give Trump a verbal smack in the back of the head that he deserves. Boy, you a moron! Anyway, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. I'll catch you all in the next video. But until then, later.